What up, podheads? Welcome to the Podio Slave podcast. Happy to have you guys join us as usual. It's episode 102, the focus group of all nerds collective on music industry and music adjacent material. We're here today with my friends Anthony and Tony. What are you guys doing today?
I love that NPR intro, the focus group, very, very professional sounding Nate. 102.9 WBLM is what I said for what we should start it with, which only makes sense to you and I and Twan. That was the classic. That is the classic rock station here in Portland, Maine. So yeah, excited to focus group with my boys.
So focus groups get paid. Like you get, so
we're not getting paid.
Shit.
Are we getting paid for this?
No, not yet.
But only because we love it. We love it. That's why we're not doing it for money. We're doing it for fun.
Yeah, it's negative ROI in terms of money, but in terms of knowledge and experience and reliving memories and learning shit new, we're rolling in the dough, right?
Rolling in it right now. Yep. We've got takes and segments and stories for days. And I mean, tonight we had a couple cool stories, some old school stuff, some new school stuff with our friends from the world. Twan, talk about the world a little bit.
Yeah, we had Matty, we had G, we had Miyagi from the band The World. So The World just recently put out an EP on Velocity Records and Equal Vision Records. So it's kind of a joint release, which is kind of a throwback. Like we used to see that in the 90s. We get a little into that in the conversation here, but they just put out an EP back in December of 2021, and it's awesome. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. It's on topic with a lot of what's going on in the world with the social unrest and civil unrest. We're not going to give too much of that away, and they're going to hit the road here pretty soon. They're going to be recording again, and we're excited for all that to come out. So if you like what you hear, go check them out. Here it is, Matty, G, and Miyagi from The World.
All right, so I'm just going to call back real quick, Matty, to December of 2020. We talked to you last on episode 39, and you were in the car driving from LA back to Boston, right?
I actually remember that because I was like, this time I'm going to be fucking home. I'm going to have Wi-Fi set up, and I'm not going to have it drop like 5 times on this interview. So yeah, yep, that's true.
And that worked out pretty well, actually. It was kind of cool to talk to somebody who was driving cross country back to his, home state of Massachusetts and back to, where you're from. But you didn't stay there very long. You were there for a couple months, and then now you're down in Nashville, right?
Yeah, man. I'm kind of just a nomad. I don't really know my place in life just yet. I'm always kind of running for myself and trying out new places to kind of see where I fit.
So when you were driving back to the East Coast, had The World kind of been something you were thinking about, or did that happen after you got back?
No, that happened after I got back. The funny story is me and Nick were always playing Call of Duty during quarantine, just like nothing to do, playing Call of Duty. And one day we were just talking about, he's like, should I record a pop punk song today or should I do a hardcore song today? And I was like, yo, do a hardcore song, And then he sent it to me and it was good. And I was like, yo, let me sing on this shit. And he's like, I mean, can you? And I was like, well, we'll find out. Let's go to. So we booked time and went to the studio, and then literally that's how it all unfolded. Me and Nick just went and had a good time with Chris Curran, fucked around on a song that Nick did. And then I called G, was like, yo, you want to be in a band? And he was down. And then we ended up, getting Tyler from Black My Heart and Ryan from Cruel Hand. And they're like, it just kind of all ironically formed.
Well, it's funny. I remember you like running through all your different projects, and you never mentioned that. So when The World dropped, I was like, that motherfucker was holding out on us. But it wasn't a thing yet. It wasn't a thing.
Oh, it wasn't even holding out. It just wasn't even born yet. It was, the sperm was still inside me.
I think it definitely like it kind of started off as just kind of like a fuck around like joke type thing. Not really like a joke, just we didn't really take it like tremendously serious, but obviously one thing led to another and now we're here. So it's kind of weird how it all unfolded.
you're pulling people in and like, all right, this you must have felt like you guys had some momentum to do something at that point.
Yep.
Well, everything kind of just fell into place, like
yeah. Big
perfectly.
thanks to Call of Duty.
yeah. Big thanks to Activision.
I mean, that's like a silver lining of a pandemic or lockdown, I guess, is like you guys had some free time to put some stuff together. Like when this was, I don't know, you got to a point where you're like, I think this might be worthwhile, us all collectively making this happen. Was there like any goals in mind? Like let's stick to this sound.
Like I think we wanted to start it like anonymously, so like nobody knew who we were. And like I said, now we're here, and that went the complete opposite direction. But
yeah, it just, like I said, it was one of those things that it just kind of all happened organically. And I've always been friends with Nick. You know, over the years, he played in, you know, a bunch of bands, and he always came out to our shows when he played like West of Mass and Worcester and Connecticut and stuff. And we're always friends. And you know, we became a lot closer, you know, over the years and playing video games and shit, which sounds crazy because obviously there was nothing else to do when you can't leave your house. And then, then we just, you know, we made this song, and it was so dope. And it just, you know, next thing we know, we had all of our different friends that wanted to get involved with it. And I don't know, it just really just a fun organic project. We weren't trying to force nothing, just straight up was a bunch of homies just like, you know, putting their little visions together and working together to make something cool. And you know, I think that's kind of how it all came about.
I just have visions of you playing riffs through the Call of Duty mic, and, and Matty's like, "Wait, what was that?" So, Nick, are you the main songwriter?
We all like put so much into it. Honestly, I guess to plant the seed with all of it. Yeah, I wrote the first couple songs, but then it was just like a snowball effect. Everyone just kept putting their ideas in, and there's no pinpointing like who writes the music in this. Honestly, the first couple songs that we wrote, I wrote it like in the studio. Nothing was actually like written. It was all just kind of off the top of the head, and like I said, everything just kind of fell into place. So without the help of these guys, honestly, I don't think it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, and even like producer Chris Curran and Kyle, like they wrote with us too. It was kind of just like all of us just hanging out and having fun. I mean, it was very like I said, it just kind of organically happened. It's just a bunch of friends getting together in the studio, and you know, different friends helped write some lyrics, and like everybody was involved. Like, and that's kind of like the whole thing. Like, I feel like we have like a little bit of a Wu-Tang vibe as far as like there's always featured, and there's like just lots of people involved because it's just fun. We're not like, you know, taking it, you know, too seriously as in like, here's the rules, here's who writes. We're just like, if you have something to contribute, like fucking, you know, speak up.
Yeah.
You know, all ears are open, you know?
So it's like a collective. I remember when you guys dropped, it was before music came out, when you guys dropped one of the promo photos, there was a comment on one of your socials that was like, I don't know what to expect, like hard-ass Wu-Tang hip-hop shit or like harder than Blood for Blood. You know what I mean? Like no one knew what to expect because the photos are just, there's one photo, it's like 20 of you guys, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's like, that was kind of the fun thing too. And like, you know, I wish G was here like right now. But like, he's like super dope at visuals and like, you know, social media content, that stuff. So like, you know, what was weird is I remember we at our first show that we played, I was talking to some of the dudes in Unbroken Wings, and they were like, I didn't even know what to expect when you get like, same thing as you said, like we saw like the promo video, you guys walking around and we're like, what is this? Is it like pop? Is it hardcore? Who's in the band? You know what I mean? So like, I think it was definitely, but like that wasn't planned. Like we weren't trying to fool nobody. Like we were just trying to figure, because we were so excited about dropping the music and waiting for the music to get mixed, but we wanted to start hyping it up and getting it ready. But that wasn't part of the strategy. Just kind of just like people decided to use their minds and going crazy. And we're like, this is awesome because we're tricking everybody, but that wasn't even the purpose.
I love that. That's so good. Like you mentioned, like you want to have a bunch of people, you want to bring this kind of collective Wu-Tang style. We actually wrote that down in our, I have it sitting right here next to me. We thought the same thing. So that vibe was put out there, like you did it. And to like, it was kind of organic. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. I feel like we'd like to get as many of our friends involved. It's fun when you have as many people as you can involved. You know, it gives that like old school, like mixtape, like you said, old school hip hop style thing. It's not even the fact that like we don't want to write songs. Like we're more than capable of writing whatever songs by ourselves. We don't need features, this and that. But it's just more fun having all these people involved in the whole aesthetic that G kind of painted for everyone, like you guys said, it's hard to kind of like pinpoint what we are. And to be honest, I still don't even know what the hell we are.
That's okay though. That's a good thing. Like,
yeah,
you're
definitely
not pigeonholed into one sound. You can do all kinds of different things and like live in different worlds depending on who you have for a feature or what you guys want to do on your own.
Yep.
So the name fits perfect then, like the world. Whose idea was that? Like, who takes credit for that?
That was all G.
As far as like, all the like the visuals and, like the graphics, the aesthetic of the band, that's pretty much all his doings. He's always been a dope, like, he does like great graphic design, like the merch and stuff and all that. But yeah, so the whole thing, the whole premise of the band is kind of just like, the world coming together, like us versus them, kind of feel. And that's kind of united together is kind of what the vision was. Originally, we were trying to get, it didn't work out for the first show. We were going to try to get like all flags of like our, different backgrounds and things of like people that were involved in the project and try to just show like,
Nice.
Everybody, together, and just kind of like it, like where all the politics were at the time, we just felt like it's a time to kind of to show everybody just getting together for the better good and, fuck the system really.
So Matty, I learned something about Wu-Tang recently. We had Benny Horowitz from the Gaslight Anthem on, and he said when all the Wu-Tang dudes went solo, they all went to different labels. So everyone could promote them. Like every label was promoting the Wu-Tang Collective. So you guys got to do that if you guys branch off.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even compare
It's trying to
ourselves.
split us up already. Jeez.
Right, yeah.
No. You come back together to do the world stuff, but you also have your own solo stuff, and you're all over the music industry, just getting promoted by everybody. That's what they were doing.
You guys don't know this, but G's the one that has the contract with Equal Vision, not you guys.
Yeah, right.
Here he is right here. He's got the contract right behind him. So there he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
What's up, G?
What's happening?
So, G, thanks for joining the conversation here. We had one for you right out of the gate. Visuals. We were talking before you jumped on. Visuals are sick. It definitely translates with the music. How did that come together?
I mean, it was pretty organic. Like I've been doing branding and marketing for a bunch of different brands and companies for a while. And
Nice.
The last time I was in a hardcore band, I kind of had a certain vision that I wanted to kind of execute when I did a new project. So taking that time off, like it was like 12 years since I was playing music. Taking that time off helped me kind of just perfect what I wanted to do. So with the world, it was just more, all right, the music kind of set the tone, and then it just was just very natural to what we wanted, Everything is just kind of real life shit,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is really out the box. It's just straightforward. I mean, we try to kind of brand it in a way where it's a little bit different than other bands, but I mean, it's still very personal and unique in the same hardcore realm that everybody else is doing. But we're trying to just kind of break new grounds moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
now that we kind of set the tone. But you'll just have to see what we got next because we got a lot of good things coming.
Can't wait. It's funny you mentioned the music setting the tone and then coming back with some of the visual stuff. It's always kind of interesting to me to figure out like which one comes first, like the chicken or the egg type deal. Sometimes it's the music, sometimes it's the visual. I'm not an artistic person by nature, so it's always like, man, I wish I knew how like their brains worked and how that comes about. Like, do you hear something and say, oh, I got the perfect visual for this?
Well, I mean, it's crazy because 12 years ago when I was in a band called Hammer Bros, and we didn't have the luxury that we have now as far as resources, as far as like the ability to have creative videographers like at our disposal,
Right.
Everything that we did was just kind of basically what you see is what you get. I mean, we wanted to put out videos, but it was like we don't have a budget. We were teenagers at the time,
Yeah.
And with those resources now and like just sitting on ideas, it's like, all right, now we're just ready to kind of unleash everything. And it just helps it now that you have like more of a everything at your disposal, like especially like the guys that we work with are super local, super talented as well. Like they're coming up and it's just like they just help with the vision.
They come from a whole different background as us too, which I think kind of adds to like the visuals and stuff like that.
So you got the name, you got kind of the visuals, you get the idea. There's a lot of hype. You got Black My Heart, Hammer Bros, A Loss for Words, and the list goes on, right? So in my eyes, as we were talking about before you came, G, I didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Is this going to be A Loss for Words 2.0 with a little edge? You know, what are we getting here? So it comes time to write, and you guys put out a product, and the intro has Josh Hines of Hammer Bros and Rude Awakening and Drug Test, and I couldn't help but notice he has the Down the Stairs verse from Drug Test. Whose idea was that?
Yeah, it was my idea because, like I said, I just wanted to kind of tie everything back to what I grew up on and who I grew up with, and me and Josh, we've been doing music forever. Like that's who I kind of roll with, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Anchors Up and all the venues that he's been doing. I mean, he's been putting shows on forever. I mean, he's kind of taking a step back because he's got multiple businesses, but like just kind of paying homage to. It's like we're paying homage, but it's also like the shit we grew up in. I mean, we would do. Who knows? We might do some Death Before Dishonor shit in the next one, or like something that just sticks with our roots, and that's what I liked about it. And it's just accessible. It's like, all right. Perfect guy to do that is Josh Hines, and that just means a lot to me. Like the little treasures in the album that like people like you understood it, and it's like,
yep.
and it speaks volumes when people get that reference, because there's a lot of people nowadays. Like first hardcore show I've been to was like a year ago, and I was like, I don't know anybody there,
Right.
It was like it's a whole new world. So it's kind of you recycling those things. Everything's recycled all the time. Like any industry is recycled. Like fashion's always recycled. Music's always recycled. Like there's new bands that sound like they're from 2012, and they're popping, and people are thinking, oh, this is like fresh, and it's like, not really. I mean, that's why we're kind of doing that in a way where we're still trying to make it unique, but like it's not anything groundbreaking. Just doing it in a newer way. We're hitting that time where it's like this is the perfect time to drop it.
I'll say this: like Victory was like notorious for the 4 fans of. They'd plaster it right on the CD, and I was thinking about with you guys. I don't even know who I'd put. You know what I mean? On the music side, I can think of stuff, but Matty, your vocals are super unique.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I mean, I think that's like, for me, the biggest compliment, because obviously for me, I did A Loss for Words forever. And this was such a big, I did some R&B shit, a little bit here and there, but like, this is my first project that was, a serious project. And I don't think anybody knew what to expect from me. And I don't really know what we sound like as far as like influences, because we have so many of them. And I think each person in the band has so many different influences, but we also have the same, mutual, middle ground. So I don't know, like I'm super proud of what everybody brought to the table. And we all brought something very different, whether it's business or, lyrics or production, whatever. So it's been honestly, it's one of my favorite projects I've ever done.
Yeah, that's the same with me too. It's like I never wanted to start another band. Like I thought I was done with it. I mean, I've always been involved in hardcore I've never stopped. But I mean, it's just I never wanted to play music again. I thought I was done with it. But then I was like, in the back of my head, if I was to start a project, it'd have to be something where it just hit, where it's like, all right, this is it. It's not just a project. It's not just like a hobby. It's like a passion, and it's going to be something that I want to take it to new heights, like from what I've ever done before. And that's what I feel like this is going to happen with this project. It's just going to take some time, but we've all put in so much work in like the short amount of time that you can't see this fail now,
Mm-hmm.
At least just get a good run of it when everything is there for, it's easier. I don't want to say it's easier than it was back in the day, but I want to say it's like, we have no excuse not to take it to where we should take it,
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds great. I know the EP we were talking before you came on, G. I listened to it a couple times today. I know Nate did too. Getting a little more familiar with it. I think I listened to it when it dropped too, and it has something for everybody. And like, I'm not as big into hardcore as Twan is. I've gotten way more into it doing this with him and talking to a bunch of different people that are just badass in the industry. But it's awesome when you can find something that has a piece of. You can tell it has a piece of everybody in it, and you can tell there's something for me on there. Like, I can find something here. This is awesome. I love that feeling.
That's awesome. It's good to hear.
I appreciate that, man. That's a good compliment. Thank you.
Although Nate did see Hammer Bros down at New Direction or Exit 23. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So
New Direction.
Probably New Direction. Yeah.
Or Exit 23. I mean,
yo, that's crazy. Even hearing both of those names, man. That's crazy.
Well, it's funny. I dragged Nate. I was like, Nate, you want to come down to Haverhill? And he's like, who? What? And we went down. Yeah.
Are you guys from the Mass area?
We're from Southern Maine.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get dragged down to Haverhill. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's not that far. I mean, it's like probably what, an hour maybe.
Yeah, a little over an hour for us.
A little over an hour. Yeah. It's a cool venue.
I miss Anchors Up. It's like crazy to see what's come out of that place. Like, to think back now, like especially a lot of the bands that are like on another level, you know, to see them at a more intimate club like that, club setting, and I mean that's what hardcore is all about. It's always just about like trying to be just so intimate with the man that it's just everybody's like a friend. Everybody's like nothing's out of reach. Everybody's just there to just have a good time. And that's why all these bands are succeeding, I think.
Yeah, it's cool to see the Return to the Pit photos. I'm like, how did I miss that fucking show? Like, what? Where the hell was I?
I hate seeing that shit 20 years ago. Fucking, oh my God.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I remember Colin said something funny to me. He's like, you haven't been around hardcore if you don't in a Return to the Pit picture. Like, he's like, you know who's been around, because you can see like all of us being younger. And it's like, when he said that to me, it's just so funny, because anytime you like see a picture and you just see all of our friends at such a younger version, and it's like somewhat embarrassing, but also like it's just really fun to, you know, just to see us all kind of growing up through pictures. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Totally.
Well, it's like I used to be so afraid of that dude. Then I see his photo. I'm like, he was a kid back then, you know?
Oh yeah.
Shout out COA.
I always love looking at those, and like if it's a venue I've heard of from you, Twan, I'm like, all right, I'm looking for Twan. I like we'll zoom in to try to find you from a time frame that I know you would have been there, or you, Matty, now too. Now that we've met, and yeah, it's pretty cool to check that stuff out.
Yeah, I was one of the very few Asian kids back in the day too. I mean, now it's like everyone, but I mean, you can definitely see me stick out, and I had like a double pop collar.
I love those pictures, bro.
That's awesome.
Hey, I have plaid shorts that I look like a golfer, so I can't say shit either.
Well, I have the Lloyd Christmas haircut. You know, it's like I was like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but in cargo shorts.
10 years from now, we're gonna be laughing at this.
I know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
I was wearing a pink sweater. What the fuck?
All right, so taking it back, like we said, we thought kind of a Wu-Tang collective. Like, I know your IG name's The World Compound, so you Compound Collective, and that fits when you think about the features. Like we talked Josh Hines, you got Nate from Zababa, you got Mike from Section Hate, you got Martine from Terror, and Mike from who's Mike from on Lifeline?
Mike Marino's just one of our best friends that has just been around the scene for a long time, and
He kills that at the end of Lifeline.
No time to think, it's time to react. What's done is done, now there's no more turning back.
So how does that, like, where do you stop? You know what I mean? Like, you must call these dudes up, and, you know, was there thought to bring more people in or what?
Yeah, there's a list.
Yeah.
And it's just sad that we don't have enough material, because we want to get, I mean, in due time, it's just, we want to get everybody on. I think that's just, I don't think that's going to die. I think that's something that we enjoy doing. And it's also just good cross-marketing. Like, I think that if there's it always means something. It's not just throwing somebody in there just for, you know, the hype or whatever, but at the same time, like, it's good cross-marketing.
Yeah.
We want to continue doing that because it keeps everything interesting. I mean, we're not like the greatest musicians and writing the craziest technical shit. So it's like, we got to make sure that everything is just always making you interested, you know? And that's one way to do it. And then I also like to incorporate a lot of my other shit, like, you know, the samples and the production, but we're just trying to just do shit and just that just keeps everything interesting.
I thought that, like, to me, that was one of the biggest things when me and Nick, you know, like, wrote the song. But that was like one of the things that, like, you know, Tom Nick was like, yo, we got to get G involved in this. And I call it G. And I was like, you know, you want to get involved. And I know G's one of those dudes, either he's very straightforward and honest. So it was going to be like not my thing. He was like, yeah, this is sick. And like him putting his twist of all like the post-production thing, I really think incorporated and made the project what it was and made it different than really anything that's out there and made it different than just a traditional hardcore record. So I don't know. I'm definitely, you know, we're working on some new stuff right now, and it's definitely going to be, you know, interesting to, you know, to follow that project up. But, you know, we got some tricks up our sleeve for sure.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my next question is the whole commerce side of things. So this started as essentially a passion project during the pandemic. We're in lockdown. We're all losing our minds, but luckily for you guys, you're being creative. We were being creative with the podcast, but you guys are being creative with music, which obviously is why we're all here. So, Matty, I know you have history with Velocity. So you're working with Velocity Records and Equal Vision. Is this how it came about? Just like personal connections that you had previous, or how did that go about?
So basically, obviously, I have a long relationship with them as far as like, my band, and then also bands that I've, managed over time. But for me, and I think, everybody that's in this band, Velocity obviously is dope. And Dave Shapiro has been such a huge help and big supporter of me. But also just growing up, Equal Vision Records was such a huge part of like, I think all of us, I know Tyler, G, Nick, we all were kind of like, that having that old school EVR logo on the record is just like, it's kind of just like, it's like an honor, what I'm saying? Because a lot of our favorite bands came from that label. So when I showed a couple of people like Tim Bora and Dave Shapiro from Sound Talent / Velocity, whatever, I kind of didn't show too many people. I showed them, and Dave just called me. And, Dave's a busy dude. Dave's a very successful guy. So for him to just, take time to call me about the project, and he's like, yeah, man, what are you doing with this? And I was like, I don't know. We're just kind of like writing music and gonna kind of just see what's up. He's like, well, why don't you just put it on our label? And I was like, you know what? I don't know. That sounds like a good idea. So I, told the guys about that, and everybody was kind of like, yo, well, like, that's fucking crazy. Like, we had a record deal before we even put out music, which was kind of, that's a situation that doesn't happen too often. You know what I mean? So we were blessed as far as that goes, and we were very thankful.
That, you're right. That doesn't happen. Obviously having the relationship helps, but you're buying something sight unseen. You're like, all right, let's put this out. We don't even know what it's going to sound like. They're not even sure because you've got so many, flavors and people in there that are going to add their 2 cents. But that's pretty cool that obviously your rep for all you guys was good enough that they're like, let's do it. Let's make this happen.
No, 100%. And it's like, obviously one thing to say on this podcast now, it kind of sucks as far as like, because of COVID materials and obviously vinyl production, like vinyl is so popular now. It takes a lot longer to produce. So obviously, we put out this record, and people that pre-order the record, it doesn't really get to them for a long time from now, but there is progress. Hopefully it'll be out by the summer. So anybody who's listening to this right now, that's, supported the record, that shit is on the press. We just posted a picture of what it looks like, and it looks fucking beautiful. So we're getting, another step closer.
Yeah. You got proof of life, right? With the photo.
Proof of life.
Yes.
But it reminds me, the complexity of having a dual label. The only thing that came to mind immediately was Velvet Revolver. So like Stone Temple Pilots were on Atlantic, and the Guns N' Roses guys were on, I think, Interscope. I can't remember. It's kind of an unusual scenario where you have a dual label release in that regard.
It's more of a 90s thing, right? I remember it in the 90s.
No, absolutely. So we're like I said, we're blessed as far as that goes, and we have some good people on our back, and we're working on some new music. I don't want to give away too much, but we're going to do a split with somebody. We'll be talking about that soon. So we got a cool thing going on there. And then we're also working on another EP. So we got a lot of the music on the works. So,
nice.
Basically once we're going to do a couple tours on this project, but we're going to be following it up right away with new material. So we're just going to keep it going.
So get those vinyl orders in now, right? So that the supply chain doesn't make it so much harder on everybody, man. That's the other thing. It's like, you're right. The music comes out in early December, and if you could give somebody that physical media, we're old school. We're all mid to late 30s now, and I want that physical media in my hand. I want that CD. I want that record. I want that 7-inch, because it's like I'm supporting the band that way. And because you get, obviously with all that's gone on in the world, it's tough to do that. It's such a bummer, but like, stay the course, guys. It's coming. There's proof of life, as Nate says.
Yeah, also it's just good. A better way to not be stagnant, just keeping everybody updated. I mean, that's what it is. Like, that's the one thing. I never grew up in an Instagram era while I was in a band. I was like, maybe MySpace, and it was a lot different back then, where it's like you can still have that same effect if you haven't played a show in like months, But over here, it's like, if you're not doing anything and like not posting shit for 2 weeks, it's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. Where'd you go? You guys gone? Is it over? We don't want that.
Yeah. And it bums you out a little bit. Like, you first come out, and then the shit's going strong, and then we're focusing on numbers when it's like, that's not really what it's about. Like, we haven't played a show, but I'm sure the show's gonna be good. And like the next show we played, like, I mean, we only played one show, but the next show we do play, I bet you it's just going to be just as good and make us feel rejuvenated again. But it's just crazy. All we're relying on is just numbers. And it's like, that shit kills you, you know?
That's a great point. Like, I remember buying CDs back in the day, and I listened to it once. Even if I didn't like it, I'm still going to play it because I bought it. You know, there's an investment there. Nowadays, you fire it up on Spotify. If you don't like it, you're done with it. You're done.
Yeah.
And that band's dead to you. You know what I mean?
It's nuts.
One thing I learned on this, that, you know, I've been in the music business for a while, you know, as far as being an artist and also on the, you know, the back end of things. But 1312 is only 29 seconds long. So I don't know if you noticed, but it doesn't even get any plays.
Oh, we noticed. We're nerds.
Which is something like I'm like, you know, it's crazy. Like, I never knew that was a thing until this. Cause I was like, yo, why is there no plays for 1312? Like, it's a dope track. I was the one listening to it, but yeah, but I guess it doesn't even register as a song because it's under 30 seconds. So like, I've just learned a lot about this, like just different things from this project just in general. So
even dropping the music video too, it's like the official videos on YouTube, but we get more plays on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the purpose of these platforms? It's like, I mean, we kind of excel at one thing, but then it's just kind of having to tackle putting all your efforts into one platform is a lot of work, you know?
Well, and there's a million platforms to put them out there. I mean, we do the same thing with this podcast. And I would tell you, I think we have 10 times the followers on Instagram than we do on Twitter. And it's like, they're just different worlds.
I don't like when I see people retweet something 50 times, I'm like, yo, they must be famous. And, but it's like my homeboy. I'm like, damn, like, what are you doing? I've been on that shit forever. I just never knew how to master it the way like other people do it.
And I'm sure just even for you guys, like, it's just kind of like, you know, trial and error. You know what I mean? Like, obviously this is a whole new project to us and a whole new time. But yeah, I mean, we're just, you know, just doing what we do and just sticking at it, just like you guys do. I've seen you guys grow over time, you know, from when I did my first interview with you guys, even before that, to where you guys are at now. And so for you guys,
like, I mean, that's what, as long as you're consistent, your fruits of your labor will pay off. And that's what, I mean, the only way we can really stay consistent is just, you don't want to, like with you guys, with running a podcast, you guys can drop new interviews every week and keep people interested. We can't just keep dropping new merch every week or like,
it's hard,
it's not the same. Or if we play shows, it's cool, but we also don't get that luxury to do that because there's a lot of variables. Yeah. So what can we really do besides just stay in the background and just like keep giving little hints on like what we're doing? It's not, I mean, once we get out there and play more, I think things will get to the part we want. We're still new, you know, so.
That's got to be like your biggest engine, your biggest driver is hopefully getting back out there in front of people and getting that energy from the crowd and having them see, all right, they have energy. This is awesome. I want to buy the CD. I want to listen. I want to stream the record a bunch, and then maybe go get the record when it drops. That type of deal. So it's that's a huge driver for you guys, I would imagine.
100%.
Yeah, we have a lot of shows all around like April and May. So I know that all of us, we got that little itch once we played that first show, the Rude Awakening comeback show. I know that I'm fucking itching to get back home and do these shows, but we have I think we have like 2 weeks worth of shows we're playing, you know, all the way from like Chicago back to Boston. Then we're going to do another little New England thing we're going to announce pretty soon. But yeah, I'm excited just to play more shows. Yeah,
we couldn't make it down, but I think enough people took videos that I saw that show from so many damn angles and people knew the words. I was like, that didn't take long.
Yeah, no, that's kind of like, that's kind of what we want to continue to have happen is just kind of creating that, just being able to withhold that hype, you know, not even hype, but just like people like really fuck with it. Like they don't know it. We didn't really announce like who was in the band, anything like that. We just got the good response because people just actually enjoy the music and seeing everybody go off at the shows. It's like, all right, yeah, this is going to be something where actually people just genuinely want to come out and just sing along to the music and go see us, you know?
Oh yeah.
That's a great point. You didn't lean on X Black My Heart, X Hammer Bros, X A Loss for Words. In fact, Matty posted about it and that's how I knew about it. I didn't know it was X Black My Heart or Hammer Bros until fairly recently.
No, that's the one thing we made sure we didn't. I mean, Matty's just Matty because you know, but we also didn't want to just say this X A Loss for Words at all, like, because it doesn't really. I see that shit and I think it's corny, you know, when I see bands do that, and doesn't make me want to fucking see like listen to them or like for fans of. It's the same kind of vein.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you're trying to build your own thing, right? This is a new thing.
100%.
Yeah, so like that's exactly what it is for me too. Like I don't want to. It's nothing like a loss for words. I wanted to just kind of, have its own, like have my own respect from this side of my life, because I've always been involved in hardcore and everything, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to be looked at as a new person, new vibe, new energy, and not a lost words. It doesn't even. It's just different worlds. Mm-hmm. So it was good to kind of just start with a new face.
All right, so you get shows coming up. You're not going to tell us who the split's with. We could kind of poke at that. We're not going to. You can tell us off air.
You guess.
I'll do it off air. I won't. I won't put you on blast. I won't do that.
It's a West Coast band. I'll say that. That's the only hint you guys.
All right.
I haven't abandoned mine, and I'll say it after. So you got shows coming up. Anything else that you'd like people to kind of check out or keep an eye out for?
So we have a video dropping with Vane, not the band Vane. The end of the last song on our EP is called "For Some of Us," and that's going to be dropping soon. I think that's the next thing that we're going to be doing, which should be very interesting.
It's not very interesting.
Yeah.
Is that because you have something in mind, or you've already done it and it's
already done? I mean, it's the last track of the record. It's a hip hop track with one of my good friends that I've known for a long time, and G and him kind of made a song separately. It kind of just made so much sense with the way things were going and the way how Vane is involved in our lives and everything, that we're just like, yo, let's just fucking put this on the record as the last track. And, people fucked with it hard. So, we kind of, the music video is more like his lifestyle, where he's from. You'll see. It's definitely going to be something different than most kids have seen in this scene for sure.
When is that dropping?
I mean, I should be getting the video. I mean, I saw a little bit of an edit the other day, so we should be getting it back in the next week. So it should be up.
Yeah, it might be up by the time this drops. So if it is, we'll have probably linked to it in here. If not, it's coming very soon.
Premiered on the Audio Slave podcast.
Hell yeah, we could do that.
There you go.
We love that stuff. We'll definitely share it when we see it, because we always love anybody that gives us some time to talk some music and talk nerdery with us. So we're here. We're here for the world.
Same. Means the world to us.
Nice. I love it.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. The music definitely transcends what's going on right now in current time. So it's a good soundtrack for these just crazy fucked up times, both visual and musically. So Matty, all you guys, thanks for coming on. It's been a blast as usual. I'll see you guys here on the West Coast. Those guys will see you guys on the East Coast, and we'll keep going.
Yeah, it was great to finally meet you guys. Thanks for having us on, definitely.
Nick, Matty.
G came in and stole the show as usual.
You guys were awesome. We really thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, cool. That was our conversation with the world. Matty, G, and Miyagi. They came on and they talked about how they came together, which was fairly recently. Last summer, I think, fall. And then putting out their EP back in December, which we've listened to, and actually go peep that right now. I mean, if you haven't listened to that, it's a quick listen. It's 15, 20 minutes. It's got something for everybody, which I think I said during the interview. There's a piece there for everybody. You like a little bit of heavy music, there's something there. If you like a little bit of melody, there's something there. If you like some hip hop, there's something there. So go peep that right now. Those guys were a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, great conversation. The whole time we were talking to them, I was thinking, man, this pandemic fucking sucks. Like this whole lockdown, everything about it is rough mentally, physically, like whatever you want to call it. Like it's a rough time for all of us collectively as a human race. And there's always one part of me that's like, well, there's probably going to be some good music that comes out of this, at least. And the world is doing just that. They're reacting to the circumstances and putting out a record purely out of passion. Like they said, they didn't know where it was going to go. And they're getting some really good art out of it, a really good EP, which we all listened to. And yeah, it's great. And they were awesome to talk to today.
Yeah, if you listen to our year-end recap episode, I mentioned the World EP as one of my favorite records of the year. It didn't make the top 5 just by nature of the fact that it was an EP. If it was a full length, different conversation. But I really like it. I love the pedigree with those dudes. I've been going to shows with those guys for, better part of 2 decades at this point, and to see what their individual bands, and then to see this project, it actually makes sense, right? I mean, we spoke with Matty back in episode 39, big R&B hip hop background. I mean, you heard it with G, big, also a hip hop guy. Like it makes sense. This is the culmination of a lot of different influences. And you know what? We can relate to that. I mean, look at this podcast. We have a big overlap, but there's also some niche stuff that we like. So we get it. To see the product like this, it's a lot of fun, and see how it was made. We're into that.
That's a great point. Like, they come together as a group with differing influences and similar influences, kind of like we do. And on a smaller scale or a bigger scale, depending on where you're sitting, it makes so much sense to people like us, because we, as fans of music and all different types of music, and like I said, we dip our toe into all the genres. We love to dabble with everything because there's something there for us. But to have a band come along that does that, and maybe they live in the hardcore world, but at the same time, they're going to give me some of the stuff that I'm looking for in a hardcore band. Cool. I love that. I want that all the time. I love when there's new things, different sounds, different things being put together that you don't always hear. And I think we get that with these guys, and I think we're going to get more of that with these guys as things go forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, I think they alluded to it in the name, the band name itself, The World, which is unity. Like, we're all coming from different perspectives. The band itself is very much so different individuals with different personalities and whatnot, similar to this podcast. And we're all about that, because if it was so singular, it wouldn't really be that interesting. So the band itself and our podcast kind of go hand in hand. So it was great to talk to them, and great conversation, and cannot wait to see these guys play on tour, as they alluded to at kind of the tail end of the podcast. They're going to do some shows. So that's cool.
Yeah. You know what? I love that they don't lean into the former, ex-members of, because a lot of bands do that, and they almost expect something from it. These guys, yeah, I mean, you heard it. A Lost for Words, Cruel Hand, Hammer Bros, Black My Heart. If you're from the Northeast and into heavier music, like, yeah, that means something to you, and that warrants you checking out a new project from any of those bands. But they really don't lean into that. And just actually, for me, just recently finding out that, there was some of that pedigree there. So yeah, check it out. The World on Equal Vision and Velocity Records. EP's out. Looks like they're working on some new music. I don't know when that's going to drop, but keep an eye out for it.
Might have a split coming, might have, all kinds of different things coming. Depending on when this drops, the music video that Matty teased might be out there. So check that out too. If it's there, we'll link it in the show notes. If not, it's coming real soon.
Yep. And additionally, we all have our legacy bands we love, artists that we love, solo or not. But this band, The World, really represents what's going on today in real time. Drink. So, there's another.
You drink, Nate.
I'll drink another one. So there's that, so if you want music that's relevant, this is happening, unfolding, and was inspired by current events. And I think that's really cool, because there is some substance to what's going on. As much as it sucks, we get some kind of silver lining artwork out of what this whole shit show. So, and
check it out. The visuals are stunning. Like the visuals of the actual album, and the photos, but all the music videos, they're as pro as they get. You don't see that with a lot of the bands in this scene. So it's impressive on all fronts. So check it out. And I think we'll probably close it there, right, guys?
Yeah, we'll be back next week with more. But hey, keep our socials at Podioslave on everything. Podioslavepodcast@gmail.com, Podioslave.com. Everything's hanging out right there. So go check all that stuff out there, and we'll be back again next week with another edition of the Nerdery Chronicles.
Hell yeah. We're going for the maximum evaluation. Props to Twan for the website, and you guys for pimping us, and all the fans that listen. So cheers.
We'll see you next week.
Peace, potheads.
Come on. I murder people for fun. Got the impression that